So my attitude is, look, we've all got family, we all have friends. Thing is, we can't always choose our family, but we can choose whether we want to be around them. Hey guys, so for this vlog I've got a few notes I'm going to work off here. I've actually written notes for myself today, rather than just having a bit of an idea. I normally just have the idea in my head on what I want to do and how I want it to be and how I want things to flow. But today I thought I'd actually go with some notes, just for a little bit different, because there's a few things that have been on my mind in terms of friendships, relationships, stuff like that, and just sharing my thoughts with you guys. With my clients, yes, being a PT, I do a lot of the physical stuff with clients, but there's also a lot of the emotional and mental stuff I do with my clients in terms of life coaching and stuff like that as well. So it's important for everyone to be able to communicate back and forth, and I just thought I'd share a few things and a few thoughts that I've had recently, and that's in relation to things like family, friends, relationships. So my attitude is, look, we've all got family, we all have friends. Thing is, we can't always choose our family, but we can choose whether we want to be around them. We can choose who our friends are, and we can choose to be around them, and they can choose to be around us. And then there are friends who are like family, and that's separate again to things like relationships and stuff, but a lot of it does intermingle. So you can have a relationship who's your best friend, you can have a friend who's just a friend, someone you catch up with every now and again. You can have friends who are just acquaintances. So there's a lot of intermingling in there, and I'm sure we all understand that. But the thing that I've learned about really good and best friends is that there is no such thing as time or distance that really could injure that friendship, or deter the quality of that friendship, if that makes any sense. If you and that friend really, really, truly are the friends that you say to each other that you are, all that sort of stuff, then look, I've got a best friend in the world who is hundreds of kilometres away from me. He lives hundreds of kilometres away from me, and I probably only touch base with him every 3 to 6 months on average. But for us, that still works. We're still best friends. We still support each other. We don't give each other hard time about the fact. When we do, when we talk, we tease each other and all that sort of stuff. But the friendship quality hasn't changed at all. Like I went up, he was in a vlog I did a little while ago, Brant. Yes, I'm going to call you out on this one, Brant, which also calls me out for not seeing off enough. So I hadn't physically seen him in years, but we constantly keep in touch. But in saying that, it can sometimes go six months without talking to each other. But that friendship is exactly the same. It hasn't changed. We're still best friends. And I guess that's the thing, really. It's friendships and relationships are really how we perceive them. So that friendship I have with him, we're still best friends even 6 months without talking, as if we were only a couple of streets away and we'd only seen each other yesterday. It makes no difference to us. We're still those sorts of friendship. It still has that quality there. So how we perceive a friendship can make all the difference in the world to how that friendship interacts. And sometimes that friendship can actually be a reflection of us, who we are, how we're feeling towards ourselves, and sometimes we actually throw that perception into the relationship. and that can actually damage things too. So we've got to be very careful how we communicate in that relationship and how we treat ourselves in that relationship. And that's where things like social media can change things. Social media, look, is great. It's good and bad. Look at it from the perspective of sometimes the social media has a purpose. It's better in some ways. Sometimes it's worse. It's better because, look, we can have that instant connection. That person around the world, that person who's distance away, we can still keep in touch with them immediately, right there and then. But then you've got the issue of what people post on social media, how people interact on social media, is really only the top 1% of how their life really is. So when you see socialites or whatever posting, oh, they're doing this, they're doing glam shots, blah, 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 that's really only the top 1% of their life, maybe, even probably 0.5%. The rest of their lives can be an absolute mess. You just don't see it because social media they don't show it on social media. They only want to show their best parts. So that can affect your friendships as well. And then you've got things like validation and all that sort of stuff, and that just goes into a whole different realm of social media. Yep, I'm in the flight zone here, right here in Brisbane, right along the river. We'll give that plane a minute to go over because I don't really want to keep cutting in and out. I'd rather just have this one long vlog and have that quality continue on. So, I suppose for me, any of my friends and family that really know me know that, look, I'm not always perfect and I don't always keep in perfect touch, but the friends and family that do truly know me know that occasionally, yes, I'll have that time for me. I'll have that, recoup time. Sometimes I won't always talk to them straight away, but they'll understand that, and they'll get that. They will understand that. Okay, I haven't spoken to him for a little while, but he's been taking him time. You don't have to constantly be in touch with someone for a friendship to change. It doesn't, for a friendship, if it's quality friendship, it'll stay exactly the same no matter what. But because I haven't been in touch with someone doesn't mean I'm not on them. They're not on my mind. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking about them. Doesn't mean they're not still part of my life. That relationship, in my perception, hasn't really changed. Even if I haven't spoken to someone for a couple of weeks, or I haven't spoken to someone for 6 months, to me that relationship is still the same, and it should, on the other end, be exactly the same as well for them. Problem is, not everyone else does perceive things the same way that I do, or that you do, for that matter. Not everyone sees things exactly from your perspective, and that's where the communication in relationships is so important, all that sort of stuff. So I don't want to go too much into that. We can do that on a whole different blog, but that's the relationships and friendships. Even if you don't go and see each other for a week or a couple of days or whatever, those feelings, that friendship and that relationship should still be exactly the same, unless you've then had a conversation and gone, you know what, there's an issue, and then that's a different situation. That's where communication comes in, making sure that everyone perceives the same thing and understands each other from both sides. Then when you do catch up with all those friends and family, it's like, well, I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, or I haven't seen you for a couple of days, or haven't seen you for 6 months, or in Brant's case, when I went up and saw him recently, haven't seen you for a couple of years. But we've still kept in touch. So it's exactly the same. We interacted exactly the same as if we'd just seen each other last week. It wasn't any different from us. So I suppose what I'm really trying to get there is that the friendships and the relationships, we need to understand each other. And when you're in a quality friendship, a quality relationship, you should be able to understand each other. You should be able to communicate. You should be able to see things from that other person's perspective if that quality is there. And if it's not, then a little bit more communication is required. Now look, we're not all mind readers in saying that, and none of us are perfect either. And I do this with all my clients as well. It's all about having that quality of that friendship or relationship with your friends, your family, your partner, whatever, and communicating. We're not mind readers, but if you turn around and have you time, everyone's got to have you time, everyone's got to have group time, everyone's got to have relationship time, friendship time, and sometimes those amounts of times vary. Simple as that. But the quality should still be there if it's a good quality relationship or friendship. As I said in the beginning, sometimes they're a family we don't spend time with. That can sometimes be through choice too. So yeah, just wanted to have a little bit of a chat about that. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on some of these things. What are your thoughts on how things have been working for you, how relationships are working for you, friendships working for you, what does and doesn't work for you? I'd love to hear them. Make a comment down there. As always, love hearing back from you guys, love the interaction, love the feedback. Click the like on Facebook, click the follow on Instagram, click the subscribe button on YouTube, and I'm going to keep the content coming out for you guys and keep as much as I can for you. Okay, stay safe out there. Talk to you on the next video.